Welcome back, everybody. How are you, Mr. Lucas?
Doing pretty well. How are you, Miss Cat?
I'm doing pretty good. So we're about done here with our
really?
6 sessions of vaping. Yes.
That went by really fast.
Really fast. Too fast, honestly. I think we could have went a little slower.
Could have.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into it. Today we're going to tell you guys all about the long-term effects of vaping. So everything you need to know as far as researchers know right now and as far as we know right now. So the long-term health effects of vaping are not yet fully understood due to the limited research, but current studies have identified major risks, especially for the lungs, heart, and brain. So lung damage. So let's start there. Vape aerosols contain, as we know, those fine particles and chemicals that irritate and inflame our lungs. Long-term exposure is linked to serious irreversible lung disease. Chronic respiratory diseases which increase your risk of asthma, chronic bronchitis, and chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, which is those COPD, even among non-smokers. So if you live in a house with people who vape, smoke, you can still be affected by the nicotine in those smokes, or in the vapes.
Secondhand smoke.
Yeah, secondhand smoke. Then there's lung scarring. So flavoring chemicals like diacetyl can cause popcorn lung, resulting in permanent damage to the small airways. Symptoms of popcorn lung, as we know, include wheezing, coughing, and shortness of breath, as well as fatigue and things like that. Long-term issues after eval. So some individuals suffered lasting respiratory disability, cognitive impairment, and mood disorders. So as Mr. Lucas mentioned, I believe in lesson 1 or 2, how nicotine, when you are young, it can affect everything while you're growing up. So that brain development, those moods, everything that personality, who you are, it can affect that. So heart and cardiovascular problems. So there's an increased likelihood of heart attacks and strokes compared to non-users.
Really?
Yeah. So people who do vape are more than likely going to have a heart attack than people who do not vape.
Huh.
Very
okay.
interesting.
Yeah.
Huh? Research links e-cigarettes use to a greater risk of heart failure. Vaping can cause blood vessels stiffening, raising the risk of cardiovascular disease. And nicotine increases heart rate and blood pressure, affecting heart health over time. So like Mr. Lucas mentioned earlier, the more we make our heart work harder without giving it the oxygen it needs, the less better our heart is essentially going to work.
Less efficient.
Yeah, less efficient. Chemicals in vape aerosols can damage DNA and increase oxidative stress, raising cancer and heart disease risk. So, like a lot of people think, vapes de-stress them, kind of take that stress away. It's actually inducing more stress. So you're not actually calming down. You're actually just calming down for a moment because you hit that nicotine and it's like that temporary high. And then as soon as it's gone, you're right back to that anxious self you just were until you hit that nicotine again. Awesome. So, Mr. Lucas, do you think you can take us through addiction, cancer risk,
Yeah, absolutely.
and any additional long-term health effects?
For sure. So, when it comes to vaping, no matter if you're vaping, nicotine,
Yeah.
THC, whatever you're vaping, it comes with a lot of different things, right?
Of course.
And nicotine, as many of us know, is very, very easily to get addicted to.
Yes.
Very easy. You can literally get addicted the first time you use it.
That's very true.
And a lot of the time, that's how it goes down. So, nicotine is that highly addictive chemical, and it has lasting effects on the brain, especially in adolescent and young adults. So, with what Ms. Catalina just mentioned, the brain development, your personality, the way that you hold yourself, the way that you talk, the way that you process stuff, so like your critical thinking, all is affected by this nicotine use, and also affected by if you use THC as well.
Oh, wow.
So if you have the nicotine and the THC combined, it's a cocktail for disaster.
Oh, wow. That's very good to know.
Yeah. Nicotine exposure during these formative years can disturb brain development, impact attention span, impact your mood, impulse control, and with some others, changes their personality permanently.
So you mean if I I'm in high school and I'm a sophomore and I've been vaping for the past 2 years, I'm not going to be able to concentrate as much as everybody else?
Not as well.
Okay.
Just due to the fact that it does target that attention span, right?
Yeah.
And if you are consistently using over an extended amount of time, yeah, it could affect your ability to retain that attention.
That's really good to know.
Excuse me. Other things, so prolonged nicotine use can make the brain more sustainable to addiction to other substances. So once you're addicted to nicotine, it is very easy to get addicted to other harder substances like marijuana, methamphetamine, opioids, fentanyl, different things like that.
So would we say though vaping is a gateway drug?
No.
Okay.
No,
Awesome.
I want to make that very, very clear. Vaping's not a gateway drug, right? I'm not saying that everybody vapes is going to get into hard substances. However, there's a higher likelihood of them trying and getting addicted to those substances if they started out vaping.
Awesome. Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that addiction, that brain development, that nicotine, the THC, all of it getting into your brain, it's messing up your brain development, but you also have a huge cancer risk when you're putting those chemicals in your body.
That's very true.
So the research is still ongoing, as we've mentioned throughout the sessions. We don't really know the full extent of the harm of chemicals. However, due to the research that we do have, there has been some concerns about linking long-term vaping and increased cancer risk.
Oh, very nice.
So the variety of cancers that you could get from vaping is extensive, right? Because of the different organs that it all interacts with.
Yeah.
But the most common is cancer of the lungs, cancer of the heart, and cancer of the throat, because those are the three main organs that the vape aerosol is interacting with.
Yeah.
So vape aerosols contain that carcinogenic chemicals such as formaldehyde, acetaldehyde, and the heavy metals that we mentioned, that nickel, lead, and all of those. It's just a cocktail for disaster, right?
Yes.
Then the animal studies, right? I'm not a fan of animal studies,
Me
but
neither.
we did find some animal studies that proved that some vape aerosol can damage DNA and impair DNA repair mechanisms, which are precursors to cancer. So,
To add on to that, as Mr. Lucas was saying, we're not a fan of, animal research on human products. But something we do teach in one of our substance abuse prevention programs is that monkeys who were trained to smoke THC, I believe it was for 6 months or a year or something, like once a day, once a week, for like however many weeks, there was significant change within their brain structure from smoking that marijuana. So just in that little 6 months to a year, they had so much brain change and brain development, but not in a good way. So it's not like they were getting smarter, and we're gonna be able to like go work for like a corporate agency. They weren't getting smarter; they were getting dumber. So just being aware, when you use young, these things can happen to you, and they can also affect your own brain development.
yeah, absolutely. And it's not only brain development that it affects, right? When it comes to DNA, it can affect reproducing DNA.
Yeah, that's very
So
true.
when
Infertility.
fertility, sperm count, like there's a
Yep.
lot of different things that nicotine and THC affects. So it's not just you're getting high; it's also affecting all of these other things, not
Yep.
just your brain.
Yep.
So with that, cancer often has a long latency period. So that means like it stays dormant in your body, right?
Yeah.
And it can do that for many, many, many years. So scientists right now, we've definitely linked it to cancer, right? But we don't know the full extent on what cancers and what effects the cancers have on your body from vaping due to that latency period of some cancers. So as the years progress, 10, 20, 30 years from now, we'll hear more and more effects and more cancer related topics when it comes to vaping. Yep. So, with that cancer, there's other long-term health effects.
course.
As, we've mentioned, vaping touches almost every organ in your body. So teenagers who vape are more likely to start smoking traditional cigarettes later. So I did mention, right, vaping's not a gateway drug. However, as people mature, they start going away from that kiddish vaping to a more adultish smoking. So that's where that connection is. It's not the fact that it's a gateway, right? I'm vaping now, so in 10 years I'm going to be smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
That's not it. However, you could get that want to smoke cigarettes as you vape more.
Yeah.
Then, certain vapes, flavorings can damage human cells, including those lining blood vessels, even if nicotine is absent. So, on TikTok, I'm not sure if you saw it, but like there's those ads of those nicotine-free vape pens that are essential oils, right? Yes and no, right? They're marketing to you as nicotine-free. However, all of these vapes are built in the same factories, right? They're not going to go out and build a completely different factory for nicotine vape frees or nicotine-free vapes. So what they are going to do is they're going to clean out the equipment or whatnot to try to get all that nicotine out. But do you think they can get 100% of that nicotine trace out? No. Obviously, right? So even those that say nicotine-free do have traces of nicotine in them, no matter if they say nicotine-free or not. So they aren't healthy alternatives.
So since that's like false reporting, can we take that to anybody?
Yes and no. Since it's TikTok, it's Chinese owned. So,
yeah, of course.
So yes and no.
Okay. Love it.
And then vaping can cause oral health problems. So we went through a lot of, like the physical, a lot of the inside stuff. But it can also affect your gum tissue, the lining around your teeth. It can affect your teeth itself. It can change the color. It can make them decay. There's a lot of different things.
It can cause premature wrinkling. It can cause your eyes to turn yellow, your teeth to turn yellow. If you're a cigarette smoker, you smell like cigarettes. Your breath smells like cigarettes.
And it can cause oral lesions.
Yeah, yep. It
can cause cuts
little
throughout
bumps and stuff inside your mouth.
Yep, all the way down your
also,
esophagus.
Smoking builds up a lot of phlegm within your body. You're not able to, since you're affecting your body so poorly in such a negative way. You're not contributing to it to make it healthier. You're contributing it to make it unhealthier. It makes it harder to heal from sicknesses. If you get sick from the flu, it's going to take you.
Your
everybody
immune
takes
system's compromised.
Yeah, everybody takes about a day or two to heal from the flu, and you take 3 weeks. So just keeping those things in mind.
So yeah, that pretty much gets us to the end of it. We just want to do like a brief summary for y'all, just so we can cap everything that we've talked through these last 6 sessions, and then we're pretty much done. You'll have all the information you'll need in your toolbox to not vape.
Exactly.
So in summary, right, vapes or e-cigarettes are battery-powered devices that heat liquid containing nicotine flavorings and other various chemicals, and sometimes THC, that is inhaled by users. While often marketed as safer than traditional smoking, as we've talked about, vaping introduces a complex mix of addictive and harmful substances.
Yes.
So such as those carcinogens, the heavy metals, the volatile organic compounds, all of those go into your lung, posing numerous health risks, right? Yes. I can't even count the health risks we talked about throughout these sessions. They can cause long-term health risks, they can cause brain development to decrease, and it can increase cancer risk. So vapes are available in several forms, as you showed us on your lovely whiteboard. Those two include disposable vapes. Those are your pod systems, your vape pens, and those the box mods. Of course, we talked about the legal aspects of it. The legality. Those who are under 21 are not subject to vape. They're not even legal to vape. With minors facing school disciplinary actions and legal penalties if caught. So overall, right, the main message we want you to get out of this is vaping can lead to irreversible lung damage. It can increase your heart disease, risk of heart disease and addiction, and other serious health concerns, especially among young people.
Yes.
So thank you so much for joining us, right?
Thank you so much, guys. And just remember, you choose what to do in your life, so choose not to vape, okay? And bye.
Live vape free.
Live vape free.
Okay, so welcome back, everyone, to our last session. We got Steve. Throughout those sessions, we have put more and more health conditions that Steve has. But today we're going to learn about the last few. The first one I want to talk about is those lithium batteries. Remember how we talked about how those can explode? Well, they have exploded before, and primarily the most common type of explosion is the explosion in the face. Now, because it comes in such close contact with your face, the vape, because you have to put it in your mouth in order to draw from it, that explosion is really, 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 really close to your face. So I just want you to color in just an explosion to show that, you know, Steve's vape here did unfortunately explode in his face. We have that. The nicotine addiction within itself, I just want you to add little red spikes in here to show that the nicotine's in your brain. And that's just a visual representation of those effects. So it's that personality change, it's that mood change, it's that attention span being decreased, it's all of that. So as we can see here, Steve has a lot going on for him right now. Steve is not very healthy. As we can see, Steve has that popcorn lung. He probably has some sort of cancer laying dormant in his body right now due to the vape. We have that explosion to his face. We have that effect to his eyes, his brain. We have the acne all over his skin, right? We have the inflamed and inflamed throat. We have the heart that's compromised. We have the kidneys that are compromised, liver, and of course your digestive tract. That includes your intestines, your stomach, and all those things that, you know, make your digestive tract the digestive tract. So your Steve should look similar to this, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for coming along with us as we went along the series. Thank you so much.